Hello and welcome to our Learn Python series. Today we are going to talk about Python modules, how do we use Python modules to organize our code better. Then I'm going to show you example of how I turned the class and the classroom class into modules and use them to demonstrate the code organization. So let's do it.
Over the course of learning Python, our program has grown from one line of code to almost 300 lines of code, and we have only added a small fraction of functionality. By the time we get done with the whole application, this may be 3,000 lines of code, and code is 30,000 lines of code, and all the code so far we have written is in just one notebook file. Imagine that somebody gives you a long piece of paper, and now you have to read the paper and understand what is in it. And by the time you get to the middle or to the bottom, then you forget what was at the top, you roll back the paper again. Now you will it be better that if somebody gives you 300 pages and each page has a little sticky note what tells you what this page contains? Now it becomes easier for you to manage reading the whole story that has been given to you on a one long piece of paper. Similarly, Python helps us in better organizing our program or the code by using concept of module. So what's a module? So far you saw that we use Google Colab notebook file, IPYNB file, and wrote all the code in there. A module is a Python file with file extension .py where you can break out the code in individual modules. Let's look at how this works. Like you see that on the left there in Google Colab, there's a little folder icon. You click on it. I've already created a folder in there called student analysis. You see some already created py files, but the way you create new file is you can say new file and new sample.py. All right, so this is how you create file and then you add your functionality. From the other file names, you may have already guessed it, what these modules are. For example, student py. Student py, that means most probably it contains a student class. So you can see exactly that the student class that we wrote in our notebook, I have extracted that class and put that in our student module. Similarly, the classroom module contains the class that we wrote and we extracted it here. Now, previously when we were using our notebook, we were just running the whole notebook by clicking on our little icon which says run and it will do the work. The way you run the Python modules is you're on the command line or in the notebook, you can just write the command exclamation Python and then the full path to your module file. Let's try to run the student module and see what happens. All right, no error, but nothing happened also. But if you look in the student module, there is nothing to actually run also. All it is student class definition. So how can we make this module to do something for us? I'm gonna write some code and I'll explain what this is. We'll say I am a student. Let's print that. All right, let's see now what happens. Now you can see that this student module has printed a line called I am a student. So how did this happen? When you run a Python module from the command line, every module in your application is given a name. And that is the special variable called underscore underscore name underscore underscore. With one difference, that when Python runs a module, that is called the entry point to your application. In this case, we ran the student module. That means the entry to our program is our student module. Python gives a name to the special variable called underscore underscore name, and it is called main. So when the student module runs, it checks that if I am the entry point, meaning if I am the main, I am going to do the work. Later on, I'll show you that when student is not the entry module, this line of code that we have written to print this line is not going to execute. We'll see that in a minute. Now, you see there's another file that I wrote, analyzed students data. Before that, let's look at the classroom module file. At the top, you can see that we have imported student module. Up to this point, you have been importing the external libraries called matplotlib or scipy. Now you can see the power of modules, that now you are importing your own modules in your own program. All right, now let's go back to our analyze students data. all the code that we wrote about how we can create instances of our student and classroom classes and use it. Now you can see that I have extracted all that code here and put it here. Now, so that is the main module, and that will be our entry point because this is the one that is going to execute our program. So let's run this. You can see that I have changed the entry point from student module to analyze students data module. And you can see that now this is the one that has executed because this is the main module. Previously, I said that each module has been given in a special variable name with the special variable underscore underscore name underscore underscore. But now you see that we wrote that code in the student module, but that did not execute. Let me show you that why it did not execute. Now we're gonna add another line of code where we're gonna print this actual special variable. Now, now let's run our, now you see that what did it do? The underscore underscore name variable actually has been assigned a value of the name of the module student. It is not main anymore. That is why when we ran the different entry point, that this code in student module did not execute. So this, now you can see that how modules helps us in better organizing our code. In subsequent chapters, we are going to use this whole concept of module and convert our whole student analysis data application into different modules and run it.
Thanks for learning with us. Do subscribe and like our channel. For more information, do our website. Till next lesson, take care. Goodbye.